Hey. Hi, friends. How are ya? Okay, let's get everything all set up here. Hi, friends. How's it going, everyone? Happy Wednesday. So we've got, I think, all three. I don't think the Facebook recording worked yesterday. I'm so sorry. But it's looking like it's running now. So we're good. Hi, Facebook. Let's pop on over here. I literally have like 3 screens set up right now. Okay, we're live in the webinar as well. So if you guys are just joining, please come say hi. I say this every time, but it makes me feel like a total weirdo to like be talking to myself this whole time. So like, I like just knowing that you're here. So come say hi, then I can see your names. If you want to share where you're listening from or calling in from, I always love seeing that too. We always get like so many like different time zones. Yesterday, there was somebody from like Canada and Spain and Amsterdam, which is awesome. I love that. And New Zealand, I think. So let me know where you're listening in from. We've got 3 platforms going at the same time. So if you guys are just joining and you have like why is this notification going off? Why did you just get the email? Remember, we're doing live everyday hangouts. We at noon Pacific, covering and the topic I get so passionate about, which is creating a healthy lifestyle that actually lasts, right? And the process of designing one for yourself. And I say designing, and I mean designing because I think there's so much more like control that we do actually have, that we do get a say in, but sometimes we're not really aware of what that is. We keep doing the same things over and over, wanting a different result, aka definition of crazy, right? So the first 2 days, if you miss them, the recordings are posted on the blog. So simplyrealhealth.com/blog, and you'll see like the workshop, and then I have the little recording. So I've done videos of these. So if you guys want to catch up, I broke this into 5 steps so that we could do these in little mini workshops for 5 days in a row. So we're on day number 3. So if you missed day 1 and 2, head on over to the blog at simplyrealhealth.com/blog, and you can kind of catch up from there. Okay, look at this. You guys are saying hi. I love the waves and hearts. There's something about this on Instagram that makes me like, I feel like we're like really hanging out. Okay, we have Santa Monica, from Washington, Cincinnati, Ohio, Linwood, Boston, Austin. Hi, Kate. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Michelle. Oh, this is so fun. Hi, Chris. Hi, Christine, Alyssa, Utah. I love this. Okay, so welcome. If you're just catching up, feel free, please stay and hang out, but then definitely you can go back and watch the first 2 videos. So as you guys know, most of you know, this is like, I'm sort of walking you through some of the big principles of the Simply Real Life program, which is my group program that runs only once a year, and I do it live once a year. And I don't know if I'm always going to be doing it, so this is kind of like a limited time that I'm going to be running it live. It takes a lot of energy, as you can imagine. We do like live weekly calls just like this. You're getting podcast recordings, but everything is really broken down of every single thing that I teach my one-on-one clients with, but doing it in a group format. So we take it 6 weeks in a row, broken down week by week of different topics. You're getting assignments, little mini fun assignments every week. I promise they're fun. A podcast recording is how you learn, and you can do that all in your own time during the week. But then we have these live weekly calls just like this. So this is like a little mini glimpse into some of the things that we start to talk about, because I believe, and the work that I do, and this is my favorite piece of what I do, is that we just have to get out of the things that are sort of keeping us stuck. And a lot of times it's our own selves that keep us stuck, or it's like this old information about food and what is healthy that's like stuck in our brains from maybe like 10, 15, 20 years ago. And that's something that like we just don't learn about ever in our culture. We never learn about food in a way that won't change. We never really learn about real food. We just all purely, the way that we're taught to be healthy is like all about diets, all about programs, and they're things that continually change. So it can be so exhausting, right? If you're just a consumer, if you're wanting to be healthier, you can get like run around laps like a little rat race, just in purely a pursuit of wanting to live a better life. So I want to like clear all of that out. My favorite line is like, let's clear the clutter, right? This applies to so many things. But if you want to have a healthy lifestyle that lasts, you can't keep doing the same things. You can't keep doing like following into like periods of your life of being really, really good and then really, really bad, right? Or raise your hand. I mean, I am like the queen. I was like the queen of all the diets. I tried literally everything, Atkins and paleo and intermittent fasting. And I've like tried it all. They work for a short amount of time, but not ever for the long term because they never incorporate the real aspects of life, like the beautiful parts of being human, where you're sharing meals with other people. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you have like 70-hour work weeks. Like none of those are really incorporated in the so-called like by the book, this is how you eat healthy. Okay. So it's my mission to just teach people how to eat healthy in real life, in that gray space in between the black and the white rules, because there's so much more that like comes into play. Okay, so it looks like we're Instagram. Okay, we're back on Instagram. Let me know if you guys are still here. Do you agree with this? Is this something that's like totally new? One of the things that I love to talk about is like actually the specifics of how you go through this process and start to shift. It has to be a shift both in your food. So that was step number 1, right? On Monday, we talked about has to be this shift and transition to real food, because when you do that, that's the physical part of this, right? And that's usually all diets cover, just the physical part, what you're doing for your workouts and what you're eating. But to have an actual lifestyle that's a little bit more resilient and a little bit more something that truly like comes from your heart of knowing yourself really well and being truly grounded in that, that takes it, you have to take the next step. Right? It can't just only be a physical thing. It has to be physical. So with your food, step 2 was redefining what it actually means to feel good. So this is a step that happens naturally when you transition to all real food, which is awesome. It takes about 7 to 10 days for your body, like all of the systems in your body to normalize. So like your blood sugar and your hormones and your digestive system, like all of the things that get crazy when we have like a lot more chemicals in our food or a lot more sugar or a lot more processed stuff in our life. Like we're literally going up and down and up and down and up and down all day long. It's exhausting physically, mentally, and emotionally, right? And really hard to predict or tell. Hunger feels like kind of the enemy. So starting with that physical piece, now we get to move into like having that be so much more stable and steady and grounded enables you to start thinking and shifting some of your thoughts and mindsets, both like mentally and emotionally and with your mindset around food. And like, this is where the true change happens. It's why I have an entire program that's 6 weeks leading you through. The first 2 weeks are the food piece, but the 4 weeks, so much more time spent on the actual like mental, emotional, and mindset states that it takes to actually take healthy eating from something that's just about your food and workouts to something that is like so much bigger and such an actual part of your life, and learning to train your brain in much different ways, right? So this is like equal parts psychology, it's equal parts food. But once you have the food piece figured out, that piece becomes so much easier. You almost don't have to think about it anymore. And it becomes so much more about the thoughts in your brain, the things that you surround yourself with, getting rid of the clutter, getting rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. So I want to jump in with step 3, right? Because we're on Wednesday. So this is step 3 of like, what are like the third step in this process is like once you're like feeling really good, the third step is just getting out of autopilot, right? So I'm so funny. I was listening to the recording yesterday and I keep saying, right? I'm like, you guys with me, right? I feel like I'm talking to you right now. Now that I'm aware of it, I can't stop saying right. Okay, sorry. So this process is so much more about like autopilot. And so many of us, whether you realize it or not, you don't have to admit it if you don't want to, but I'm just asking, this is your action for today, is to start noticing where in your life have you just sort of fallen into like, I call it like robot mode, right? You're just going through the motions. You're you're making your coffee in the way in the morning just purely because that's the way you've made it for the last like 5, 6, 10, 20 years of your life, right? And never stop to thinking like, how is this affecting me? How is this setting up my day? What is this doing to my sleep at night, right? Of trying to almost like break down what our daily habits actually are, because truly our brains are like so wired to just want things to be easy. It's just like, it's so interesting the way that we're wired. Like as humans, our brains we would rather take the lazy route, right? The brain literally does not like to do new things because it requires building new neuron pathways in your brain. And that's like work. So your brain's like, yeah, no thanks. I'd rather not, like I'd rather not think about it and just do what I've always done. However, that is not going to get you to the next level and making this something that is truly sustainable unless you're willing to look at those things. Okay. I feel like I'm getting kind of aggressive and like shouting, but this is truly, it's so true. If you are fine kind of like halfway doing, like trying to be healthy, but you feel like you're always bouncing around and going through phases with it, this is the thing that actually changes it. But you have to be willing to kind of take the next step of thinking about your mindset, your emotions, your stress level, your relationships. Like, what are the situations in your life that affect food, affect how you're thinking about food? And where did you learn the stuff that you're doing, right? It's truly like we have so many things that are just stuck in our brain because we picked it up some random place. Like we heard Oprah say something one time, or like our neighbor do something another time, and we're like, oh yeah, like these things get stuck in our brain and we're like, this is the healthiest way to do it. And then we do it and then we kind of get stuck in that. So step number 3 today, this is your assignment, is to start thinking about like, what are the places in your life that maybe you're in autopilot, right? Whether it's like how you're doing your morning coffee or your morning beverage, or like what your morning routine actually is and why, right? Start to actually question yourself. It doesn't mean you have to stop doing them. It's just meaning becoming aware of what those things are. You may find it really interesting if you're like, I actually don't know why I'm doing that. It's just because that's my habit or that's my routine. Okay. So think about that like in the morning. Think about that as you're like going through your day, of your lunch. Like, do you have things that you do? Maybe you come home every night and you just pour a glass of wine, like automatically. And you're like, you never think about it, but then you also sleep horribly. You get sugar cravings. Like, there could be these things that you're doing that seem so innocent and like so not a big deal, but it's something that you like are just doing because you're doing. So this is the 3rd step. Okay. Yes. So this is the 3rd step. I'm watching your guys' questions come in and I'll come back. This is the 3rd step to making something like, to actually having a lifestyle that lasts. It requires a little bit more examining of not only the physical part of it, and that is what all the focus is on in the media, in our society, the way we learn about food, the way we talk about being healthy. It's always just about food and workouts physically. But to bust through those things and get to like the next level where it's something that feels more intuitive and something that feels more in line with your own body, the only way you can get there is by starting to break up some of these things that you're doing that may not actually be as helpful. Cool. Okay. So as you guys know, these are just quick little mini workshops. So if you're just joining in now, you can go back on the blog, simplyrealhealth.com/blog. The recordings are posted from day 1 and day 2 with your little mini assignments. And I love seeing all your messages and things that you're like, wow, this really was super helpful for me. So we're breaking down like a lot of the principles and components and the steps truly to what I talk about in the Simply Real Life program. So this is, again, it's the program, I keep saying it just because it's only open for 1 week. I just do this once a year and I'm not going to always do this forever. So this is just a short amount of time where I do have the capacity to keep running these lives, running it live. So if you guys have questions, I'll stick around for a few extra minutes today just because I want to make sure you guys are tracking with me and this is all making sense and this is something that's helpful for you. Honestly, even if the program is not for you, it is like no worries at all. I hope that this is just helpful for you to like start maybe challenging the way that you're thinking about being healthy and challenging some of the ways that you're just kind of automatically going through your life, instead of thinking about it as something that you can actually design and have a say in and create the things that you want. Because when you can do that with food, it expands to every other area of your life. And it's such a beautiful and such an empowering thing and such a more stable, grounded, steady place to live. So that's what I really just wish for all of you. And so I hope these are helping and giving you little glimpses. So let me know, please let me know. And feel free to check out the program too. It's, again, only open until next week. And if you sign up before Saturday, this Saturday only, I have a little early bird, so special little price, and there's little payment plans if you need to. Special little price, you get a full gift bag, goodie bag of all my favorite things, a little break on the price, and this program is something that is lifetime access. So every time it runs, you get to sit in for free. So I literally have, there's like, I think we're up to like 50 alumni that are like back in and so excited, like frantically emailing, like, I can't wait, I'm so excited to like sit through and do this again. So all of that is part of it. And again, if you guys do have any questions, I would love to, I will like take them now. Oh, I'm missing all the ones on the webinar, but if you guys have to go, thank you so much for tuning in. I will try to post this recording again on Instagram Live for the next 24 hours, and then the other recordings will be on the blog. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Okay, now let's transition into some questions. Who has questions for me, either like about these topics, about anything, even from yesterday or on Monday, or things that you're kind of just like thinking about? Did I say something that maybe like sparked something? Okay, Jen saying this is exactly the piece that I'm missing. Yes, the urges to give into cravings. Pamela, this is so true. This is such a real thing, and that's why like the first step has to be the food piece of it and starting to like get that more on board. So in the Simply Real Life program, we literally spend 2 weeks just on food and doing it in a way that's not an elimination diet. That's not like crazy. I'm not taking things away from you. We're just trying to infuse more good first so that your body can naturally stabilize itself. So it's, you know, it's not done in like a real food, but it's actually a diet. It's more like, listen, here, let's lay all the cards out on the table. Like, let's clear your brain of all the things you think you know, all of the habits, all of the things that you think are healthy. Let's just start over, because most of us have never learned about food in a way, about real food in this way, where it is more stable and steady and won't change for the rest of your life. And so that's where that piece with cravings and like things that you feel like you're not in control and that your body is revolting against you, and it's like food is like this thing to battle every day. That's like that, a lot of that can be alleviated and like made so much easier on yourself. And it's why it's the first 2 weeks of the program, because I want to make sure you guys feel so good and supported and have all of your questions like answered about like to eat cheese or not cheese, or like, is dairy okay? What about grains? What about this whole gluten-free thing? Like, what about sweeteners? Somebody sent me a question of like, what do you think of stevia and monk fruit? How come you never talk about it? There's reason, right? Of going through just like making sure that wherever you go and wherever you take yourself, you would never be doubted. You never would have any doubt in your mind as to like, yes, this is a good, true, real, healthy food, and no, this is not. Like that is something that will never change and is so worth learning and taking just a little bit of time out of your life to learn it once, and then you never have to learn it again. And it makes everything else that comes easier, this mindset and the emotions and the thoughts and habits and routines, so much easier. Yes. Okay. Sia is saying, I'm always traveling for work, so it's difficult to find healthy options, especially at client dinners. So Sia, when you make this transition to real food, it actually makes it so much easier to eat out. I think it's like one of the best parts, actually. It's like most places, at least if they're like medium to higher grade quality restaurants, it makes it so much easier to eat out because most of the food is being cooked from scratch, right? So when you take away your concept of healthy being like under a certain amount of calories, or it being about only avoiding certain foods, or that is the stuff that makes it hard to eat out, or portion sizes, right? That makes it hard to eat out because you're like, I have no idea what they're cooking or what's in this dish. But when you start to learn about food in this more foundational way, you begin to understand like, oh, okay, this black bean soup on the menu. I know what would be in it because I have spent some time looking at labels. I've looked at a can of black beans before. I've maybe seen a recipe before for black beans, and you begin to understand like, oh, all the things in there would actually be real food, right? So, and thinking too about sometimes this shifts and changes some things. Like my favorite example is like sometimes people will go out and they're out to lunch, let's say client lunch, and they're like, great, I'll do like the wrap or something because that's better than doing a sandwich, like, you know, something, or like the low carb tortillas. However, I would probably say that, like, according to the rules of real food, if you ever saw the ingredient list of some of the wraps or like the whole wheat bread or, you know, pita bread, even all these things that are like supposedly healthier, that when you look at those ingredients compared to something even like an order of fries, I would say the fries would probably win real, but that's not what you would always think of as like a healthy order out, right? But there's no reason why it would be. It's potatoes, oil, and salt. And granted, the oil may not be perfect, but living a healthy lifestyle in this long-term way is not about being perfect. It's about doing the best you can every day with what you have going on. So with whatever situations are in front of you. So my favorite order is like a salad and then a side of fries that maybe I'll share with my husband, and like a few bites and I'm good. So much better than a sandwich, so much better than whole wheat bread, so much better than most like tortillas or wraps. So again, see what I mean? Like this perspective of like real food being the most important thing makes it so much easier to eat out when you're able to understand like what different things are made of. Yes. Yes, totally. Pamela says, I love hearing the word sustainable. That's what has to happen to get to the next level. It's so true. And not to talk about it like levels necessarily, but that's sort of how I think about it in my head, is like that anybody can do like the baseline basics of doing a diet that works for a short amount of time, but like getting to a place where it's sustainable and not like making you crazy of swinging back and forth all the time. Not to mention that's so hard on your body. It's hard on your hormones. It's hard on your digestive system. It's hard on your energy. It's hard on every system in your body to be swinging back and forth. And it makes things worse over time, where your body is like, I don't trust what you're doing. You keep changing all the time. So I'm not really following along anymore. Has anybody ever had that? Okay, let's see. A few other questions. Anybody else? Are you guys still with me on Instagram? Do you guys have any questions here? I know we're going a little bit over today, but I just want to make sure if you have questions about this or the Simply Real Life program, or just kind of these general concepts that we've been talking about today. Again, all the recordings are up on the blog, so make sure you pop on over there if you've missed anything. But okay, I'll take two more questions. Okay, Leanne asked, is citric acid as a preservative okay? Yes, Leanne, actually, this is one of those weird ones that maybe sounds like this is the kind of stuff that we cover in the first 2 weeks of the program. It's like, okay, what about this? Wait, what about this? Now that I'm looking at this, what do you think about that? Like, how is the good thing? So citric acid, think of it as like lime juice on a bowl of guacamole. It's the thing that keeps it from turning brown. Citrus is a natural preservative. And so citric acid is actually natural and nothing to be worried about when you're looking at labels. And I think it's the one thing that sounds weird, like sounds like it could be not so healthy and not clean, but it is actually because it is derived from citrus. And so it's natural in that way. So something that you don't need to be totally like scared of avoiding at all costs. So it's just a much better way than emulsifiers and most like chemical preservatives. Those are the things that you kind of want to watch out for. Yes. Okay. Mary said, would you recommend losing weight and then using your program? I have about 40 pounds to lose, but I'm not sure I can lose it with your method. So Mary, I think that if you're wanting to it's totally up to you the way you would want to do it. The program is only open once a year and closes next Wednesday. So if you didn't do it now, it would be waiting till next year. I'm not sure if I'm going to run it live next year or not. So just to be totally honest with you, that this would be the round to do it if you're wanting to get that more live interactive piece to it. But I would say if you have done other things before and you feel like it was just like worked short term, then do something like, right, keeping on doing the same things over and over again is not going to get you a different result. So you might as well enter into it now by working on the physical piece, but also simultaneously doing the emotional, mental, mindset piece at the same time, right? That is going to move you forward in such a better way than just the physical piece and then trying to shift all the physical and then all the mental, emotional, mindset stuff later. It can make it hard to let go of whatever program you were doing before because you're convinced that that's the way because it's working, but it won't work long term. So if you're thinking about this from an efficiency standpoint, that's always how I tend to think about things, like what's going to be the best use of my time. Like for take the next year, right? Where would you be at 1 year later doing something that incorporates all of the work underneath or doing something that's just the physical? But again, that's like a personality thing. So whatever like you feel intuitively would be like the right move, that's what I would suggest. But I would do at the same time, much more efficient use of your time. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, yeah. Erin says, I can tell you that without trying to lose weight using her meal plan alone, I've lost 10 pounds. So yeah, I mean, Erin's right. It happens naturally. It's never like the focus, but you getting to your most natural state in your body is a side effect, like a really great, nice side effect of eating real food and starting to understand what that is. And then, like I said yesterday, starting to take into account how all the categories of real food interact with your body, because that's what matters. It's not going to be the same for every single person, but giving you the tools to actually walk through of like, okay, how do you tell if your body's doing good with the food or not? Or like, what are some better replacements for the things that you love that light you up in life? Like, we're not trying to be depriving you of everything. So yeah. Okay. Josta asks, is it possible to follow the program if you're not living in the US? Yes, absolutely. That's why I do it this way, is truly you get, through the 6 weeks, every week you're getting your podcast recording of the like learning. That's your lecture, right? But you can listen to that at any point during the week. I'm trying to make it really doable in real life, that you're getting the information, but it's solid and so condensed, and that you're living your life too. Every week I send you a bunch of recipes. So these are recipes different from the cookbook, a few sneak peeks into the new cookbook, and then you're getting your weekly assignments that you can do at your own time. But we're in like a Facebook group together, and we're like doing this in the group setting, so you get to learn from everybody else too, which I think makes it a better use of your money. It's also half the price of one-on-one coaching, so that there's a bonus. But that you're getting to like learn from other people too, and they may be asking questions that you may not even think about. So you get to like share in that. And then every week we just do a live call, but I record them all. So if it's something that you can't make the time, so if you're in a different time zone, not in the US, I always like release the replays right after the calls are done so that you can sort of interact. You can send in questions beforehand. You can follow up with questions later. I just want to make it as much as possible real life approved so that it's not something that's an extra burden. It's something that's going to like crack open the rest of your life and make so much more space and get rid of the clutter in so many ways, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, that doing this in a way will hopefully simplify everything and not be adding tons more to your schedule, but focusing on the few key pieces and things that are actually underlying and the few things that are missing in probably every way that is talked about trying to get healthy, and really like nailing in on those specifics and doing that in a relatively quick amount of time. So yes, great question. Oh yeah, Erin saying, she said, my boyfriend had similar results, and the best part is that it's not painful. I don't feel like I'm dieting. As my boyfriend described it, it's the best food we've ever had in the house and the best meals we've ever made. Erin, I love that. And I know you're going to do the program. I'm so excited. So that's truly my hope, is that it's not painful. This does not have to be joy sucking, and that you don't have to put your life on hold to do this work that's going to get you to such a different place in your life, that you can do it simultaneously. And that's truly like what I want to share, is that I'm like, why do we make it so hard on ourselves? Oh, it's because we've never learned these underlying things. So this program is meant to uncover all of those and do it in a way that's really practical and fun and not too time intensive, but efficient, so efficient in what we're talking about and why. Yes. Yeah, Mary says, I think this would be perfect for me to lose weight permanently and be a happy mama. I love that. Yes. And think about you being like, for those of you that are moms or are parents, like you being in such a great place with your food and having a good relationship to food that's more sustainable and steady. There's no way that that does not affect your kids and your babies. And like, think about little girls growing up, like that is the best gift you could ever give to your family, right? Of like learning to feel more comfortable with food. Maybe you start to cook a little bit more, maybe not a requirement, but that you just get more comfortable with the things that actually do feed and fuel you, and then being clear on the things that maybe don't and are not as worth it to you. So it is such a mindset, which is like, it's a full understanding of you and yourself, learning your body best, so that then you can, the things that you're doing in creating intuitively is the environment that your house becomes and the environment that your family starts to be raised in, even without you saying a word. And that's always my advice to moms and parents. Like, you do this work for yourself first. And there's no way, like in all of my years of doing this, I always say, like, don't force it upon your husband, your partner, your person in your life. Don't force it upon your kids. You're not doing this to push something on other people. You're doing this internally, because that is what truly affects and like radiates out. That you'll start to see naturally that people will pick up on what you're doing and the new things you're trying and cooking. They'll want to try it too eventually, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, especially if you've done a diet or a program before and the people in your house are like, oh great, like here she goes again, right? Until they see you, your energy's better, your mood's better, your sleep is better, and you're not being crazy. You're not avoiding all wine. You're not avoiding chocolate. You're not avoiding the things that you love in life, right? It's not like carb free. This is like, it's just real food. And I think once you can get having more joy with that and more enjoyment and appreciation and a better relationship to food, it affects everything else and everybody else around you in such a cool, like beautiful, really, really grounding way. So that's like what I hope. Can you guys tell? I'm like, feel like I'm talking on super speed right now. I'm just so, yeah. I'm so passionate about this. It's something that truly I think would have changed my life in so many other ways. But I just love leading this group through, and I love having all the alumni every year because they get to join for free, of just seeing the change really like year after year with the way that they approach it and the way that it permeates and like radiates out into every other area of their life. So that's truly the goal, like sustainable grounding, just having this more permanent on your health and what that means and all of the other areas of what that means. Okay. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. It makes me like so happy to know that you're caring about this. It's such a huge, huge part of your life that does not have to be as hard as we've been taught, and does not have to, we don't have to keep doing things the same way. And oftentimes that's often the problem. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, let me know. We went extra today, did a little double time, overtime, doing some questions, but going to be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific and Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, and then Tuesday we'll do a little recap. But the program does close on Wednesday, and the early bird special rate and the extra gifts and all the like fun little things ends this Saturday. So be sure to go check it out. It's at simplyreallifeprogram.com if that's something that you're interested in. And if not, I'll just see you tomorrow for some more goodness. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.